Hi guys, welcome back to the Funky Evolution Party. I'm Alice Green. Thought I'd do a quick video to let you guys know that I'm very excited about tomorrow. Thank you so much, South Africa, for being the leaders in humanitarian support. You know, you guys have suffered a lot and you understand what genocide is. You understand what it is to have colonizers come in and just try and take over with no rights whatsoever. And it's now not 1824, it's 2024, where the law is the new war. We can't go in and start bombing civilians, displacing women and children. This cycle that has been ongoing for so long needs to finally be popped in a box. And the only way we're going to do that is by holding leaders accountable. And I don't mean slap on the wrists accountable. I mean maximum security, prisons, life sentences, any theft, return to sender, in order to send these strong messages out to the future leaders who will be up and coming and will find more loopholes in order to feed this consistent gangsters at the top, really using our taxes to blow up people's homes, to displace women and children, to steal their organs. Meanwhile, they can't look after you all in your home country. They're not protecting the borders. They're not protecting the healthcare system. Yet you should be paying for other people to be blown up, and then they can come to your shores because, hey, that's what ethnic cleansing is. Find them a better home somewhere else. That's not the way it works. I'm going to go through. I haven't quite finished my submission. I know I'm a little bit late, but please forgive me. I have 2 small children. They only went back to school yesterday, so I haven't had any free time for 3 weeks. But I'm going to quickly run through with you guys. Yes, there is clear genocide and ethnic cleansing, but this has been ongoing for a long, long time. The only way to create peace in the Middle East is by understanding that Israel as a state was only created at a whim. You know, when the decisions were being made, it was a let's run around and get everybody on board. There was no foundation. There was nothing. There was no agreements. It was like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's start the UN off like this. Worst possible decision in human history. Now, when we're talking about land rights and land ownership, I'm going to make it clear that psychology, which is religion, I can change my religion. I can change my belief systems. I cannot change my DNA. I cannot pretend I'm Korean. With the amount of plastic surgery, I would still not be Korean. I would still be an Arab woman. And that is something we're going to have to accept. We can't say that 3,000 years ago I was entitled to something. No, people convert. So the natives that lived on the land have obviously either remained as they are or converted to Christianity first and then Islam. The land is a shared land of all 3 Abrahamic religions and is not entitled to anybody. Like anti-Semitism, no one owns the word anti-Semitism. It is literally belonging to any, you know, Judaism, Christianity, and any Arabic speakers, any of these Abrahamic religions. And this is where people need to start being more logical and looking at the facts of 2024. You know, when we're talking about colonization, I am born and raised in Australia, which is a proper colony. You know, obviously, when they got there, the Aboriginal people had their cultures in tribes, but there was no infrastructure. There was no legal system, which has all been put in place today. Fair. That was not the case in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Syria. These places were already populated. They had long-standing cultures, 1,000-year-old markets like the UK does. And it's imperative that we understand that you can't just... It's like an arranged marriage, right? I don't want you here. I don't want you here. But you just keep showing up on my doorstep and then you move in. And I'm like, but I really don't want you sleeping on my couch. But you persist to sleep on my couch. And then you persist to throw my things out while you persist to move yourself in. It's not legal in any country. If I'm a tenant, I can't just sell my landlord's house and then think that I own it and that I've got these land ownerships. You do not. That is clear. There is no land entitlement. There is no religious entitlement. is actually what this has created is anti-Semitism globally. It's turned not just people within the Middle East, but the entire world into a state of violence and frenzy. So you're seeing all these new attacks happening, particularly on women and children, which I'm going to really push in on here, because what is it that we're the weakest link? We're not, actually. We should be protected under international law. And unfortunately, people see, oh, an easy target, which again leads into to all of the new stuff that's been coming out in the media about child trafficking, about all these people in power who are literally creating wars so they can kill off the parents, steal the children. What sort of society does that create? You know, are we going to create more hate-filled societies where we blow up their schools and there's no education? Or are we going to say, oh, a targeted attack would be taking out that particular building, not the entire street, not the entire school, not the entire civilian population? Because the point here is not to get Hamas, it is literally to displace people so they do not come back. And it's not going to stop in Palestine. Their plan is to go to Lebanon and their plan is to go to Syria. Hezbollah is only attacking in self-defense for Gaza. Same there, same as in Syria. If you were to evict Israel, which should never have been put there to begin with, all of these pockets of what you call terrorism would stop. They would not need to even exist, because the threat that they've actually been fighting for is gone. They're not interested in going Islamic crazy around the world and coming onto your shores and pushing Islam. That's not their point. Their point is, get off our land. This is our land. Stop carpet bombing us. Stop every time I build an electricity plant, you blow it up. So I haven't got any way to support myself. It's an abusive relationship, withholding funds. Anyone who's been in an abusive relationship will see that this is coercive control, and it is, I'm not going to give you the money. You're going to spend it on things I don't want you to spend it on. Oh, I'm going to be here parading and being the security. No, you're not. You are an aggressive, violent nation. And it has been proven throughout history that this is how it has been and how it will continue if the International Court doesn't acknowledge that the mistakes of our ancestors by actually declaring this state that was never agreed upon by the landowners should remain in place or has a right to exist. Jewish people, Christian people, Muslim people have the right to exist. What we don't have the right to do is to bully churches, blow up churches, go into mosques, blow them up to anyone who doesn't agree with us, arrest them and kill them. Doctors, lawyers, journalists, targeted. They were targeted. They weren't just casualties of war. They were specifically targeted. The educated people of this world are being targeted. Why? Because they don't want us to expose them. Too late. They expose themselves. It's all over social media, you know, and we're not talking like, if I was an army and I'm trying to protect myself, I'm not going to be laughing as I'm blowing things up. I'm not going to treat it like a squat where I graffiti on the walls. I'm not going to be looting, proudly looting. It's a crime. If someone was to come and loot my home, doesn't matter whether it's a war zone or not, it's just unacceptable. And this is where I need the courts to really understand that by giving harsher sentences to these leaders in power, it will send a strong message out to the rest of the world that you do not mess with humanity. You do not use power as a means to control, to oppress, to steal. In every religion, doesn't matter what religion you are, thou shalt not steal. It's the 10 Commandments. It's beyond that. In Buddhist, people practice the same thing, not to steal, not to kill, living by high moral values. What happened to that? And this is where I'm, problem is with me writing to the court is it's going to be pages and pages and pages of long of things that, yes, are not quite by legally written down, but they are factors that contribute to the ongoing aggression and the illegal activities that are taking place. You know, it's not even a legal occupation. It's an illegal occupation that is supported by our taxes. I cannot stress enough how growing up without an identity, without any family, we are creating messed up societies, messed up futures. We can't keep turning this wheel, because what will happen next? Who's next? You know, is it okay acceptable now to go in and shoot people in Iran or in Lebanon? Oh, is that going to happen now? Should all the political leaders be on standby? Because guess what? A drone attack can come into the US or into the UK. We are setting precedents for terrorism by not saying anything, by, oh, it's okay, you know, or we don't want to upset the baby. Upset the baby. This is again like children. Yesterday, my kid had a meltdown. 2 packets of biscuits, 2 kids. 2 each from each packet. I want the whole packet. You've already had 2. Open up another packet. You get 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's an entire meltdown. And it's like how I see the Israelis. They just melt down. I want, mine. Anti-Semitism, mine. It's not yours. It's something about sharing, about understanding that these words that were created that might need to be recreated or whatever, it's like there is more than just one group of people in the world, and we can't all bend over. We have to understand that these countries have been suffering in occupation since for 75 years, and we need to turn that decision around. It was a mistake. We know that from before it was put in place. I've got all the declarations to say, oh, it was a secret agreement that was never, they were promised freedom and then they got oppressed. What is that? Oh, they got the right to exist and self-defend. They're not self-defending. They are attacking, massacring, slaughtering, destroying everything. So people have nothing to return to. And then you want to ship them abroad when they're really angry and upset, and then they wonder why they're angry and upset on your shores. Oh, it's okay. Europe will take them. Europe doesn't want the Arabs. Why don't you just leave them to be in their own land? They won't come to your shores. You'll save so many problems just by evicting Israel. I'm going to also, because I want to go through a bit of my letter here that I'm going to be sending, and I go through everything, the harsher sentencing, the child trafficking, that is huge, and it's not Muslims. Oh, the Muslims can marry a 9-year-old. We've just seen the Jews saying, oh, you can sleep with an under a 9-year-old, and you've got the Christians child trafficking globally. Wow. This war on Islam needs to stop. We need to realize that every single religion has its dark side, and this is not God's word. God does not want us to be trafficking children. He does not want us to be killing each other and stealing land. I'm not a highly religious person. I'm actually rejected by all the top religious leaders because I question them. Because I'm like, what about this? What about that? Don't ask me questions. So you're just going to promote something that you don't even understand. And I'm sorry, but I can't accept it. I'm 2024. I've never considered myself an intelligent person, but having the internet at my fingertips where I can research absolutely everything that I need to know makes me a lot smarter just by looking out there for the information. I grew up, I knew nothing about what was happening. It was shocking for me to now be able to just click and go, my entire ancestral history has been robbed from me and from all my family. I don't have, my cousins are all in different countries around the world. There is no family units. You've broken us all apart for what? That's what I would like to know. For what? And I'm not a direct victim, but whenever I do travel, I don't feel safe. But there's never any electricity. There's no clean water, because every time they try to build something, it gets busted by the neighbors. Earthquake in Syria. Oh, let's not send humanitarian aid. Let's bomb them. I'm tired of fighting for basic human rights. And I mean basic, let alone fighting for an illegal settlement that has no foundation whatsoever. Oh, entitlement of what? Sorry, and maybe I'll just post this letter up for you guys rather than talk, 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 talk. But again, covering religion and the environment. Guys, the environment. So almost 4.5 atomic bombs have been dropped. The illegal chemicals. This all blows around the world. You're wondering why it's so warm? It's not global warming. I'm not going to turn off my lights in order for, to save the planet. Or that's not going to save the planet. What's going to save the planet is that if we disarm the nations, use law as the new war. Destroying infrastructure. How much money does it cost to produce a bomb? And then how much money did it cost to blow that thing up? Who's going to rebuild that? You, the person who blew it up. That's who needs to rebuild it. Not the people that have got nothing, don't even have a business, can't even earn money. Well, that's the point, right? Keep them weak so we feel strong. Yeah? So, sorry, criminal court. This is why I'm not a lawyer. I don't do bureaucracy very well. I work on facts, not fiction. If it's not written into the law, there is a moral code that we should be following. We need to save humanity. We need to save the future, our children. They can't keep growing up in a world with underground tunnels in religious sites using God as a cover for child trafficking. We can't use religion as an excuse to go in and murder a load of people. We can't use religion to destroy. That is the complete opposite of what religion is supposed to teach. And without going into the last 3 months of trauma that I've been watching, and I mean, like, it has mentally affected us all. And again, the spike in violence, including what's happening in Ecuador. Now, there's a green light for the cartel to go in and just start killing everyone because guess what? The terrorists in Israel are allowed to do it, so let's go ahead and do it too. Think about what we're doing. Think about what tomorrow's decisions will have an outcome for. I'm going to do a risks and issues log. So future risks is when this stops. Where's the next place going to be? The issues. So risks are things that are potentially going to happen. Issues, the things that are currently happening. So the future risks of peace in the Middle East will be impossible. The current issues of having this one set of rules for entitlement versus nothing for the rest of them. And we can't keep stealing land. Israel is not going to expand. Actually, it's going to contract to about the size of a tiny city. You want to call it London. That will be what Israel is within the state of Palestine. And that's how it should have always been. Obviously, not all the Jews can return to their different lands. A lot of them have passports. So you're looking at about 75% of the population that can migrate with no problems whatsoever. And then the other 25% could have their city called Israel, not country. And I think it's very important to respect the agreements of freedom that were promised, that were never delivered, that when Israel was given the land, it was told that not to hurt anybody, and it has broken that agreement from day one. When I break my tenancy agreement, my landlord's going to evict me. That is just factual. That is the way the law was set up in order to protect landlords and tenants. And I really believe that looking micro, macro, micro, macro will give us the right way moving forward, because you can't have a set of laws and rules that don't apply to the everyday person. Why would we all then follow them? And this is the key here, is in order for a just, fair society with human dignity, values, and all of that, this is where we start. We start with making the law the new war. So I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to write this up. I've still got a few more points that I need to make, but I'm going to make it very clear that this decision is the pivotal point moving forward. They did it in Algeria. They evicted the French. They can do the same now. So please like, share, and get the message out there.